What's happening, everyone? JayShockblast here, and Aquaman is finally here. And I have to tell you, I was given the opportunity by WB Games. They flew me down to New York City about a week and a half ago, and I got to play the Aquaman DLC for LEGO DC Supervillains early. And most importantly, they took me to the IMAX at AMC Theaters in Times Square, New York City to see Aquaman. And let me just tell you guys, this movie is a game changer. This is the absolute best movie that has ever been made featuring a DC Comics character. This is DC Comics' time to shine in the cinematic universe, and it is just mind-blowing, phenomenal. I can't say enough about how much I absolutely loved and adored this movie. It honestly nearly brought me to tears on multiple occasions, and it's all I can think about ever since. The movie was amazing. Jason Momoa is about to be a star. James Wan is about to be a star. This movie really and truly is everything that DC comic fans has been hoping for. And honestly, I can't think of many movies that I have seen where I have walked out of the theater feeling the way that I did about Aquaman. Honestly, there's probably only one other that I can remember in recent memory, and that is Avengers Infinity War. And it's funny because, honestly, as far as comic book movies go, that might be the only movie that's better. That's right, I'm going there. I think a lot of people think I can be a bit of a Marvel fanboy, and it's not intentional. I like DC Comics, but I grew up with Marvel more than DC. And I do definitely prefer Marvel over DC in most cases, but I'm a spade is a spade. This movie is going to change the way that I look at movies, because I saw what James Wan was able to do with the time he had, and it's just remarkable how he was able to pack in so much into, what is definitely a longer movie, but it never felt like there was a point in time where I had a chance to settle in and kind of relax. This movie is very fast paced, and it never feels like you're overwhelmed with all the information that's coming at you. Now, from here on out, just a heads up, there's a possibility of spoilers. I don't really know how to talk about a movie without saying what happens, so you are warned. The movie is in theaters as early as this weekend. You might want to check out Amazon.com. They do have some early screening opportunities. You might be able to catch one this Saturday at 7 p.m., December 15th at a local theater. Otherwise, it is in theaters December 21st, so not that much further away. And let me just tell you, this is the type of movie you want to see in the theaters, because I just can't speak any more highly about it. It is phenomenal, okay? So right from the get-go, we have to understand this is a bit of an origin story, so they have to go through and teach people who Aquaman is, that he is the half-breed. That's what they call him throughout the movie. He is part, Earth dweller, he's human, and he is Atlantean. And we get to see his mother, who is played by Nicole Kidman, and his father, who is, believe it or not, Temuera Morrison, who was Jango Fett and all of the clones in Star Wars. So we get to see their interaction, how that happened, and their relationship, and the sacrifice she has to make for them. They kind of speed through, Arthur's growing up, and then they do a lot throughout the movie, kind of flashback sequences with Volko, his mentor, played by Willem Dafoe, who I thought was great. Everybody in this movie was great. Honestly, such great performances. Then we've got, she ends up, the story is very much like it is in the comics. She's basically escaping an arranged marriage she doesn't want any part of. She meets Arthur Curry. They fall in love. They have a child. And then she's forced back to Atlantis. And when she's there, she does have a second child, which is King Orm, Ocean Master. He's not Ocean Master throughout the movie, but that is the premise of what he's trying to do, become the Ocean Master. And in order to become the Ocean Master, you have to unite the 7 seas. So that is basically what he's trying to do. He's aware that, Arthur exists, and obviously he doesn't feel like he will ever come to Atlantis. But, they have animosity towards the Earth Dwellers, if you will, where they're just destroying their seas, and they want to rise up and attack. And it's the exact story. If you've basically read any of the New 52 stuff from Aquaman, it feels like, because Jeff Johns had some impact on this movie, as he was one of the writers, it feels like he took all the great things he did for Aquaman in New 52 and wrapped all those stories into this one. And we get to follow Arthur's journey as he embraces the sea. We get to see that first time that he ends up going up against Orm and fails and then escapes, and then kind of has a coming of age and seeks out King Atlan's trident to become the true king of the ocean, which is his destiny essentially. And along the way there's bumps, man. Like he early on, like the very first part of the movie, we see him as Aquaman. He runs into Black Manta before he's Black Manta, and we get to kind of get a taste of his story and why he is how he is. And we get to see how a choice that Aquaman makes impacts the lives of others, and how he should have, maybe approached a situation different and the repercussions of it. And we see it later on when we find out that Black Manta is working with Orm essentially. It's just the way they intertwined all these little side stories. This honestly feels like it's like 5 or 6 movies all wrapped up into one beautiful package. And I just, the way that it was shot was just so good, and each part of it just feels so different. We have this traditional action movie to start things off, and then it shifts into Indiana Jones at some point, and then there's like a full-blown horror movie when he deals with the trench, and then there's sci-fi, like honestly sci-fi that could make Star Wars jealous with this massive ocean battle. It's just honestly, it's so much to wrap your head around, and they do such a fantastic job with everything. All the characters are just phenomenal. Dolph Lundgren as King Nereus, even though they kind of warped their story a little bit, I believe in the comics King Nereus is who Mera was supposed to marry, and she kind of ran away. He's the king of Zebel. In this, they made him her father, and I'm pretty sure she was supposed to marry him in the comics, but I might be misremembering. But she is supposed to marry Orm, who she obviously leaves because she doesn't agree with what he's doing. So, oh man, I'm just like all over the place. I've done this review in my head so many times in the last 2 weeks. I saw the movie with a few other YouTubers, one of which was Benny from Comic Historian, and I actually sat right next to him, and I believe his wife, during the movie. And after it was over, we were waiting for an after credit scene, and there's a mid credit scene, I believe, but not out. There's only one in the middle, and it definitely sets up the next movie. But we talked about it, and I don't want to quote him. I don't want to make it sound like he liked it more than he did, but I felt like he was a very respected member of the comic book community, so I wanted to make sure that I wasn't in the moment, you know what I mean? sometimes you leave a movie and you're just kind of in that moment. You're on cloud nine. You're just totally in the moment. Then you watch it again a second time, and you're like, oh, it was good, but it's not as good as I remember. And I don't think I was. I feel like he kind of agreed with me on a lot of things, and I know that he also agreed that it moved really fast, but it felt really good. So I feel like I'm not crazy, because I know a lot of people are going to listen to this review and they're going to say, Jay, you're insane. There is no way Aquaman is this good. And I'm telling you, it's not fair to every movie that any of us will ever see again that it was this good, because it raises the bar to such a high level. Like, you guys know, if you follow the channel at all, I'm a massive fan of Thor, and going into this, as far as like single character themed movies, like not counting Avengers Infinity War, like actual single character based movies, Thor Ragnarok was my favorite, like hands down. My dog's name is Thor. I love Thor, and that movie was just so much fun. This movie surpasses it in almost every possible way. Like, think about that for a second. Think about Thor Ragnarok, because that's a movie I feel like a lot of you guys have seen, and think about the funny parts being funnier. Think about the beautiful colors and imagery being more vibrant and realer and better, Think about the dark parts where it's just very like down and like gritty, and think of it being even grittier and scarier. Like, honestly, the trench part, there's a part of this movie where they go to what's called the trench, and they have to go up against all these creatures. It is straight out of a horror movie, and I believe James Wan is known for The Conjuring, and you can see that influence. It is so, like, it's not, I don't want to pretend it's, like, scary, but, like, you feel that horror vibe to it, and it's just powerful, and it's awesome, and it makes it so much fun. And all the emotional scenes, like when Arthur is reunited with his mother, and even Orm seeing his mother for the first time, and just everything is just powerful, man. I'm not even like I feel pretty ridiculous, but like I literally almost cried. Like, it took fighting to not cry at various points of this movie. It's so much fun, and honestly, I can't say enough good things about it. And I don't mean to do it at the expense of another movie that I love, but like, that's what we do, right? We look at things and compare them. And Aquaman is everything DC comic fans have been waiting for. It is just a beautiful movie. Like, the colors, the cinematography, everything about the movie is just so well made, and all the set pieces look so good, and just like everything about it. Like, there's a scene where Aquaman kisses Mera, and just the way that it's shaped and shifted with all these explosions going on around them, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful to look at, and just the colors, they pop, and the way it all comes together. And then there's not even getting into the music, like the way that they found to use the soundtrack and the music and the background. It's just so good. I can't like get out of here, but like with his Black Panther nonsense. Like, a lot of people look at that as being like this, like the super movie of all super movies. No way. Aquaman, like it's and that's not to disparage Black Panther. I love Black Panther, but like I'm being that demonstrative about it because like I'm trying to bring home just how ridiculously amazing this movie is. And I don't know how anything ever tops it, honestly. Like, you look at all the great things that, Guardians of the Galaxy did, either one of them, with just like the visuals and everything about it. Like, there's a lot of CGI in this movie, and it never really feels that way. Even like the soldiers from Atlantis, like, they look like they're straight out of a Halo video game, and not in a way where it feels like they're ripping it off. Like, it feels pretty legit and it looks just amazing. And there's so much to take in, and I just can't wait to see it again. My brother's favorite comic book character is Aquaman, at least for DC Comics. I'm pretty sure for everybody though. Like, he's got like Aquaman Chuck Taylors, and he's got like a hoodie that's basically Aquaman's costume. So I can't wait to see this with him. He's pretty jealous and mad at me for already seeing it and seeing it early. So I'll see him in a couple days, and when we see it, maybe we'll do another video discussing it. But God, I can't wait for you guys to see this. I really can't. I tried to go as light on the spoilers as I could. A lot of the stuff that you know, I mean, if you follow the story at all, you should know some of this stuff is going to happen. I mean, it's basically straight out the comics. If you've read New 52 Aquaman stuff, like, you are going to be very, very happy with the direction of the story. Yeah, they changed a couple things here and there, but I thought they worked really well. All these people are at their best. I mean, honestly, Ocean Master, King Orm, like, just a great villain in the comic verse, and just a sympathetic one, you know. And even Black Manta, he's a sympathetic character. You know, you understand what makes him tick. He was very brash in the early parts, but like, you can feel his pain and you understand what drives him. And I, for one, cannot wait to see a full Aquaman vs. Black Manta movie in the second Aquaman movie that they will absolutely make. This movie's already made almost $100 million. It's opening couple days in China, and I fully expect this to be the biggest blockbuster in the history of DC Comics. It is better than every Batman movie ever made. I don't even understand how Batman can ever compete with this movie, with just the abilities they had to do all the visuals and all that stuff. It's going to take a pretty remarkable movie to top this. And you know, when we're talking about solo films, not group films, because I'm sure that Endgame is going to. But yeah, I can't wait. I'm just going in circles at this point, so I'm going to shut up. I cannot wait for you guys to see this movie. 9.7 out of 10. I no longer believe in giving movies 10 out of 10s because we have to compare them down the road. But I fought to not give this a 10 because this is every bit as good as I said it is. Because I said it, right? So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoy Aquaman. We'll see you.